Dude, welcome back to the channel. My name's Chris. Welcome to another auto repair video. If this is your first time here and you want to learn more about your vehicle and how to do DIY repairs, start now by subscribing and clicking that bell so you don't miss anything. Let's get started. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to remove these scratches. There's some deep scratches in this plastic bumper. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and repair these. I'm going to take you along for the ride and show you how I do it and how you can do it at home. So let's get started.
Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to sand this. I've got some 180 grit sandpaper on a little block here, and we're going to sand this and get it prepped out to put a little bit of glazed putty in here to fill these crevices that are in here. We're going to remove all the loose plastic that's been gouged there. The reason I have a small block is I want to keep this area, this repair, as small as possible. We're going to blend this paint in this clear, so we don't want to paint this whole bumper. We're going to spot in this area. I'm going to show you how you can do that at home. So some 180 grit sandpaper. It's not too coarse, so it's not going to cause problems, but it's coarse enough that it's going to remove this plastic and get it prepped out good for some poly putty is what we're going to use. First I'm going to hold it flat, and then I'm going to take the edge of this block right here and get in any of these grooves to remove any loose plastic in there, and then we'll look at it and see how it looks. Okay, let's take a closer look at it here. There we go. See the now you can see really see the grooves there in there. This looks like it's prepped out enough to put some glaze in here to fill those gouges. Okay, so that's what we're going to do here. See, that scratch is almost nearly gone. I'm going to go over it with a little bit of 320 just to smooth it out just a little bit before I lay this glaze in. So let's do that now. Okay, so now I've got a little bit of 320 sandpaper on this block, and I'm just going to clean it up just a little bit so to minimize these scratches, so it's easier to fill, because there's still some frayed edges of plastic in those grooves and stuff, and this will help clean it up. Okay, let's take a look at it after I sanded it with the 320. As you can see, those scratches are almost gone. There's got some, now this is really zoomed in here, so they look really deep sand scratches, but they're really not. They're fine. Now there are still some gouges in here, which that's fine. We're going to use a little bit of poly putty to fill those gouges. The next step in this process is we're going to fill those. I'm going to clean it. I'm going to use you can use some alcohol, rubbing alcohol, or some prep solvent. That's an automotive wax and grease remover. We're going to clean probably this entire area here, get it ready, and then I'm going to use a little bit of poly putty on a razor blade to really fill it finely. So let's do that. I've got a little bit of, this is the poly putty. The brand name is, it's called Icing. There's the part number if it's something you want. It's a really good product. It's perfect for this situation. I've got a razor blade here, and I've got a window spreader, and I'm going to stir this up. And what you want to do is you want to fold this in. So I'm just going to stir it up a little bit, and then I'm going to kind of knead it in there. And the main thing you want to do is get a consistent color. And then depending on the temperature, it's going to harden up fairly quickly. You might have 4 minutes of work time. Depending the hotter it is, the quicker it's going to harden up. So you want to really have a plan of action ready when you fill these. You want to know kind of how you're going to do it and go about it. Of course, it's a very small area and it'll be very quick to fill this. So now that's all mixed up real well. So I'm going to take my razor blade and I'm just going to start on this edge here, because it kind of wraps around this edge, those scratches. Basically, I'm just filling the scratches. I'm just going to go up this hole. And you don't have to be real particular about it. You know, do the best you can. You can always sand it off and put a little bit more in. So it's not totally crucial if it's not perfect. We're going to let that dry. Then we're going to sand it with some a little bit of 180 just to knock off the outer coating, and then we're going to go with some 320 to finish the sanding on the filler portion of it. Now what I'm going to do is we're going to tape this off so we don't accidentally hit it or scratch it when we're sanding. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sand this. I'm just going to use this 320 that's on here. I think that's going to be enough to sand this smooth. So okay, so I got some prep solvent here. I'm going to wipe this all down.
Okay, I just wanted to mention while I'm wiping this down is that the main thing I didn't mention this in the video, so I'm adding this in, that when you're blocking this and sanding this, you want to make sure that there's no hard edges on that body filler before you paint it. You'll be able to see those underneath the paint. So it's got to be a smooth transition, a flat transition into the rest of the panel. So that's the most important thing, and that's just something I want to mention.
Okay, so I got some 600 grit wet sanding paper. That C600. We're going to wet sand around this area. Okay, so I got 600 on it. I taped this off, this bottom area, because there's not necessary to get primer on this lower valance or around here, so we're going to tape this off so we don't get any overspray on it. The way I'm doing this paper is going to show you. Taping it down here along that edge, and then I'm going to roll it back so it has a soft edge, so when we primer it, it's not going to leave a hard edge. So a little bit of that primer will go underneath this paper, but it's not going to leave a hard edge. Okay, so I got my air pressure and my volume turned way down on my gun. My spray pattern is down to a small pattern. This is the pattern. This is the knob that controls the pattern. And then this is the volume. I've got that turned down. That's the material that's coming out. So I've got that turned down quite a bit. And the air pressure's turned down.
So here's the part where if you don't have a automotive spray gun, you may be using an aerosol can of primer, which is fine. It's a lacquer primer, enamel primer, that will work perfectly. You just want to know that it's going to take longer to dry. So in this part of the video, the primer is dry, so I'm taking some 600 grit wet dry paper, sanding that primer smooth in preparation for the base paint. Then the rest of the area that we're going to be clearing, we'll be using a gray Scotch-Brite 1500 grit.
So I'm going to 1500 grit this whole area here. And then we'll blend the clear right there. And then down there on the bottom portion right there. So let's do that. Okay, so I've got this whole area scuffed. I scuffed along the edge there really good with a Scotch-Brite scuff pad, gray Scotch-Brite around
the bottom of this headlight and then down here. And then right where that ridge is on this body line, I'm going to tape that off and roll that edge part way up. We're going to blend the clear right there. So I am going to paint down at the bottom of this this ground effect, this kind of bottom half of this bumper, and then I'm going to tape it off and blend right there. So this is all sanded, ready for paint. Primer's ready. I'm going to tape it off now, and then we'll start spraying the color. Okay, so I've got this all taped up. It's a little bit of a complicated tape session here. I rolled the edge on the right on that edge of that lip, so a little clear will blow under there. Of course, I'm going to end the clear right there, and I'm going to clear this, put color on here, and then clear up to that body line right there. Okay, and then blend the clear right there and wash it in, and then blend the clear right in here. Okay, so it's a little bit complicated. If you were to do this at home, you could just paint this area and then just blend the clear out a little ways and then wash it in with a blending agent or a reducer. So basically I've got it all sanded and prepped around this area, so the clear will adhere. But after you spray the clear on, it's going to leave a little dry area. So what you do is you spray a blending agent over it to help that bite in there, and then you just lightly polish it after you're done to give it a good transition. Okay, so here I'm just starting to apply the color. As you can see, I'm taking my time. I'm just covering the primer first, and then I'll be gradually blending it out into the rest of the panel, but not too far out because we don't want to get color too far out into this panel. Okay, so if we look here, there's where I blended the clear. It's a little bit dry, but that'll be able to be polished out at the end with a little bit of compound. You can do it by hand or by machine. And if you're using a machine, do it lightly at low speeds and don't go away from the blend, so not into the blend. But the finish is really nice. It's clean. The color match is good. It has a little bit of dust in it, but this is the first coat of clear. I'm going to put another coat of clear on this, a little bit heavier, and that'll give us some more material to work with when we polish it out and blend it. So let's do that now. So I'm putting the second coat of clear here on. I'm putting it on a little wetter. So if you're doing this at home and you're using an aerosol can of clear, get a good 2K clear coat in an aerosol can and put your first coat on dry to medium, and then the second coat, after you've let it dry for 10 minutes, put it on heavier. Okay, the last thing I'm doing here is I'm washing in the blend areas. When you're doing this at home, you're going to have a aerosol can of a blending agent. Put it on lightly. A little goes a long way. You will run it if you use too much. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. If you enjoy doing work on your own vehicle and want to learn more about how to do paint and body repair and mechanical repairs, be sure to hit that subscribe button and share this video, and check out my other how-to videos on my channel. I appreciate each and every one of you watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.